Hello, everyone, and welcome to the recap video for CRPS Q&A number 9. If you are just discovering me, my name is Chase Teagarden, and a little over 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with CRPS following 2 back surgeries. The pain was in my left foot, eventually spreading up to my knee. I could not wear a sock, I used a walker to get around, and I took around 16 medications a day. For 4 years, I went to doctor after doctor, was told that I was faking my pain, seeking pills, was a drug addict, and eventually I contemplated ending my own life. Thankfully, I did not do that, and I tried things on my own, eventually finding my way out of pain. Now, I have dedicated my life to not only learning about pain, but helping others get out of pain themselves. Using my background as a doctor of physical therapy and pain specialist, I have helped people at some of the top hospitals in Texas and now all around the world, including Australia, Switzerland, Ireland, Canada, the US, South Africa, just to name a few. If you would like guidance or help from me, you can check out all of my free resources on my website, thewindowpain.com, here on my YouTube channel. Additionally, you can join my CRPS online course, which is an 8-week self-guided course designed with the last decade of my knowledge all in one place. Or finally, if you want something a little more customized, you can visit my website again, thewindowpain.com, and book a completely free 30-minute consultation with me for one-on-one pain coaching. I am so glad you have chosen to put your trust in me with your care on this journey, and I am so excited to bring this Q&A to you, and there will be many more to come. Down in the description of this video, you are going to find a coupon code for the next 24 hours while this Q&A is live, and it has the largest discount I have ever given on my CRPS online course. So if you would like to take advantage of that and join my course, please feel free and do that. It'll be live for the next 24 hours, and I'll be so happy to have you. Thank you to everyone who joined the live Q&A this time, and if you have questions you want answered in Q&A number 10, which will not be live, please comment those questions down below this video. Lastly, if you have been watching my videos and you've found them helpful, it would do me a great favor if you could subscribe to this YouTube channel. It's completely free, and it tells the YouTube algorithm to send this video to more people who might be suffering with chronic pain or CRPS. Thank you again to all of you for joining, and I hope you enjoy this live Q&A. Take care. Okay, welcome everyone to Q&A number 9. I'm really happy to have all the people that are here today, and I'm really excited to answer your questions. As I mentioned, today we are going to have a quiz about pain and about some things around CRPS. And the top 5 people that answer or place in that quiz, the online quiz, are going to get an Amazon gift card for $25. So I'm excited to have some of you win that. And I'm just excited you're here. And so, what I'd like to do first is I'll just explain who I am to those of you who don't know. So, my name is Chase Teagarden. About a little over 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with CRPS following 2 back surgeries on my low back. And that diagnosis was CRPS, CRPS in my left foot. I couldn't wear a sock. I struggled to get around. I took 16 pain pills. I lost 60 pounds. I eventually became fed up with doctors, calling me a pill seeker, telling me it was all in my head, telling me that I would never get better and this was going to be my life. I just couldn't accept it. And so thankfully, I chose to stop listening to those types of messages, and I started to move back towards living again. And before I knew it, after 4 years of ups and downs, I was in my car driving and I realized, wow, it's been 3 weeks since I've had any pain. And since that time, it's now been a little over 7 years. So I'm thankful to say not only out of pain, but I am helping people all over the world get out of pain themselves, not just for CRPS, but also for other conditions like AMPS, fibromyalgia, FND, pudendal neuralgia, trigeminal neuralgia, chronic back, neck, shoulder pain, you name it. If other doctors don't like it, it's my wheelhouse. Very happy to have you all here, and let's go ahead and open the floor for questions. You can raise your hand using the Zoom thing, or you can raise your hand in a window. So we can start with Donna. I see her hand shot up, so go ahead, Donna. I'll have to unmute you, so you can unmute yourself, actually.
Hmm?
Yes, go.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
I have 3 questions actually. I'm sorry. What module is the sleep one?
So you can find my sleep toolkit in module 3, and that's going to be
Can you write that down for me?
That's going to be a 10 or 11 item list. I think it's 10 right now. And
Okay.
with that toolkit, the instruction is you select two items off of that list to try. Okay. And if you are in here and you want my sleep toolkit, I can send a link to that. Uh, I'll do it. What I'll do is in the description of this YouTube video, when it's up there, I'll have my sleep toolkit linked there so you can get access to that as well. Okay.
Awesome. I have another question.
Sure.
How do you do? Cause like I have a hard time focusing and just how do you do that?
Okay, so a lot of the misconception about CRPS in general is that CRPS causes brain fog or causes a lack of focus. Usually it's not CRPS doing that. Usually it's a medication we might be taking or our lack of sleep. You just mentioned your sleep toolkit. Um,
Yes.
Sometimes being in pain for extended periods, of course, can make it hard to focus. But the way that we would improve focus would be first by prioritizing our sleep, second by helping reduce our stresses in life, and then third by looking at how we can work with our provider to wean down off of certain medications. Gabapentin is one of those that can cause a lot of focus problems. And so that's kind of a strategy going forward. Additionally, the exercising that we're doing, Donna, that
Yes.
releases a chemical in your brain called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor,
I
and
never
that
write
is
that
going to
down.
help with your cognition as well.
Yay! My
Okay,
number three question.
last one, let's
And
do
then
it.
I'm done. Okay. I have a hard time taking a shower and I can't take a bath because I have POTS, so I'm afraid I'm gonna get out and fall. So what do you recommend? I take a shower like every 2 or 3 days, so
Mhm.
that's all I can handle.
What is difficult about the shower specifically?
Um, just I get dizzy standing there.
Okay.
Uh, I don't know. It's just I don't know what's difficult about it.
Tell me it's extremely painful.
It's just painful on my skin and my nerves and stuff.
On
So,
Is it the temperature of the shower? Is it the pressure of the water?
no, it's just, I don't know. It gives me like anxiety to take a shower. So
Okay.
that's weird. And then, but when I had my cast on for those 4 months, I had to take a bath and, but I don't want to take a bath anymore like that because then I get really dizzy. So I'm afraid I'm gonna fall.
Okay.
So,
So what I would recommend, considering that right now, at least the main problem you identified at first was anxiety about taking a shower, is
yes,
do you have a shower chair?
no,
Okay, so I would recommend maybe let's pick up a shower chair. And I don't want this to be a permanent thing. You're only showering 2 or 3 times a week. What I'd like you to do instead is have a shower chair, so that takes care of your worry about falling. And
okay.
I'd like you to try to take a shower 4 times a week to start. And the reason for that is you're going to have less anxiety because you're going to have the shower chair. And then two, the more exposure we can get to something that makes us anxious, the less anxious we might be. So for example, I tell the story a lot. I used to date someone who was afraid of balloons. Okay, and she didn't know why. I never could get her to explain why. But this fear of balloons prevented us from going into, let's say, the gym if they were having a special event. And so we can't go our whole life being afraid of balloons because there's balloons everywhere.
Right.
And so what we had to do to reduce that anxiety and fear is slowly expose her to balloons. So we started with, maybe seeing a picture or video of a balloon on a phone. The next thing we did is we went outside of a place that sold balloons and saw them through the window. The next thing we did is stood in the same building as a balloon, and so gradually we worked forward and closer until she was able to make balloon animals. Okay.
Awesome.
So with the shower, it's the same thing. If you feel anxiety or fear about the shower, we need to do it more often, but we also need to do it in a safe way. So shower chair to help with the feeling of falling, and frequency increase to help with the anxiety. If the water pressure is painful, what I might recommend is getting a new shower head. You could get it from Amazon, that could change the pressure there. Okay, or has a handle, right, that you can move and put where you want to instead of having the water just falling. Again, these are not forever things. These are just temporary. And then over the next coming weeks, you'll go from 4 times a week to 5 times a week of showering.
Yes.
Okay,
Also, I think the more I do my exercises, the more I'll feel better about it.
100%,
Because I
because
have lots of muscle atrophy because of that.
yes, the muscle atrophy comes from a disuse because we are in pain. Remember, muscle
Yes,
atrophy is not because CRPS is eating away at our body. It is because we are avoiding activity because of the pain. Okay, so
yes,
that's another thing.
I
Okay,
understand.
absolutely wonderful questions, Donna.
I'm sorry, Chase. Can I just add something to that?
Sure.
I'm, Donna, I'm listening to you breaking my heart because taking a bath is like my favorite thing when I'm in pain. So I was wondering if maybe you can look at it, try to like put those thoughts too, that like, because when my arm is in such pain, a bath, like I just want to soak in it. I don't even want to get out. So like I don't know, like if you use like if like a bubble bath or something that would kind of make it more pleasurable to you, that maybe you can flip that switch and actually like kind of look forward to it. Because it is, the water seems to relax me. If I'm in a lot of pain, I don't like the shower either, too much pressure. But like having my arm immersed in the water, I love that. I don't know. Just
I like Epsom salt,
yeah.
which helps me a lot. So maybe we can do that sometime with it.
Yeah, try that. And if you're worried about the falling when it comes to the bath, you've got a strong guy over there. Maybe he can help you.
He's so strong. Look at his muscle.
I know. I saw
Really.
those and I was like, I got to get to work. Okay.
I started to
Okay.
repair my shoulder, so it is therapeutic. I'm listening to you.
Somebody
Awesome.
else's
I love
turn.
it. Okay, we're
Thank
gonna
you, Chase.
yeah, thank you, Donna. Okay, who's next? And if you don't know how to do the raise your hand function if you're not on video, you can just speak up. You can also talk in the chat if you're having trouble getting unmuted. Come on, you guys joined. You got to have some questions.
I I have a question there, Chase.
All right, Jacob, go ahead.
So I I have CRPS mainly like in my right foot,
Hmm.
and I get all these bumps and the dryness and all that weird stuff in my foot. My question was, does that ever go away? Is that something that you recovered from as well?
Yeah, so what happens is when your nervous system is extremely amped up, I want you to think of it like here's a good example. When I was in high school and early college, I had a sports car, and in the back of the sports car, I put some really big speakers in it. And I used to drive down the road and just like blast music. It was really obnoxious. Like I was the person I would be annoyed by today. But I would blast this music, and about 30% of the car's alarm would go off. And that is a false alarm because no one's actually breaking in, but it was taking the cars that I would drive by, their alarms are going off. It was taking a stimulus of the sound, the vibrations, and interpreting that as a break-in. And so when you're dealing with CRPS, what is happening is your body's alarm system, the nervous system, is taking the stimulus of whatever you're interacting with, your environment, touch, noise, etc., and it's reacting inappropriately. So that is why your skin might have a reaction of bumps or, redness or dryness. And that is because of that alarm system being overreactive. So as we start to reprogram that alarm, as we start to calm our nervous system through calming things and activities, that will start to go away. And what I want to show you, and Matt, I see you. I'll get to you 1 second.
I appreciate it.
Yep. What I want to show you is kind of what that might look like. Because have you ever had periods where it's gone away and then you've noticed them again?
Me personally, no. I've always had it since, well,
Since the beginning.
it's just progressed. It's actually just gotten worse
Yeah.
over a period of time.
Yeah, so as we start to work on, calming our nervous system and addressing some of the things in our environment, such as our work-life balance, family stressors or relationships, financial difficulties, etc., and your nervous system starts to calm down, I do anticipate that those kinds of symptoms will go away.
Great.
Okay, Matt, what were you going to say?
And I just wanted to follow that up with Jacob and let him know that I have the same symptoms. It started out when I first was diagnosed with CRPS in my lower extremities, my feet. I noticed a couple on my arm, and they slowly progressed along the way and went up my arms and up my legs, and couldn't do anything. I was diagnosed with several different types of creams from my dermatologist. Some of them helped, some of them didn't. And then my wife and I left on a 6-week vacation to Europe, disconnected from everything that was back here. I had no lesions on my body at all. Everything just went away. And when I came back, I had a little drama with my daughter. I had a little drama with my wife's brother-in-law, a couple of things going on with finances. Immediately, things started to come back. So what my wife and I sat down and did was we figured out what was actually causing those stress factors and set boundaries for those people, for the objects, for everything in our life that was increasing our stress and our anxiety. We set boundaries that we would not do these things. We would not allow these people to come in and cause stress or drama in our life anymore. And they know that now, and it's helped immensely.
And what happened to the redness and the bumps, Matt, after you set those boundaries?
They've gone away. They are not completely, but I've got two on my lower legs right now, and that's it. And if that's what life has, then I can deal with two little spots on my bottom legs. Nobody sees them but me, and I'm hoping that I can, with time, with the studies and the explanations that Chase has given me, setting boundaries even more in my future. When I find things that cause me stress, we immediately sit down, set a boundary, and back off from that.
Yeah, so Matt, thank you for sharing that. And I knew you were going to share that when I saw your hand going up.
Yeah.
And so I love it. And that's exactly right. So a lot of times what happens is we look at CRPS with a magnifying glass. Okay, we say, it's my right leg. My right leg's messed up. It's the nerve in my right leg. It's the bone in here, all those kinds of things. What we need to do really is zoom out. One thing I say a lot is the key to missing the big picture is to look at everything close up. And in medicine, we do that too much. And so when we zoom out and we look at the whole person instead of looking at, your right leg, you're not right leg, you're Jacob. And so when we zoom out and we look at the whole person, what we often see, what I see almost always is a pattern. Okay. And this pattern is significant life stressors around the time of diagnosis.
Yeah.
Okay. So for me personally, I've done this before, so all of you who I know have seen this, you'll have to forgive me, but there's new faces in here, so I want to bring it up again. So give me 1 second. So one of the activities that you will complete in my online course, if you take advantage of the coupon there, is the timeline. This is the module 1 activity, and I'm just going to show you a small snippet of my timeline as a teaser, okay? So in 2008, I personally, this is my physical timeline, had a bout of back pain. In 2012, I had my first back surgery. In 2013, I had my second one. In 2014, I was diagnosed with CRPS. And then in 2015 to 2018, while I was getting out of pain, I developed chronic migraines. And then in 2019, I developed ulcerative colitis. So that there is a physical timeline. And if you notice CRPS, chronic migraines, and ulcerative colitis, those are all I don't know conditions, alphabet syndromes, where you go into the doctor and they say, yeah, this is happening. We don't know why. Here's the medicine to take for the rest of your life. Okay. Those I don't know conditions share a common trait. And that trait is an overactive or centrally sensitized nervous system, right? Stuck in fight or flight. So what we need to do is, instead of going to get a colonoscopy, instead of looking at all the trigger points in my neck, and instead of focusing on my left foot where the pain was, we need to zoom out. And so the way that I've learned to zoom out, and what I do with my clients, is I have them make another timeline. And that timeline is the emotional timeline. Okay. So in 2008, my mom was diagnosed with cancer. In 2011, my mother died. Not handling it well. In 2013, my brother died. I was diagnosed with CRPS. Then I was depressed, struggling to move forward, stuck in life. And then in 2019, my sister moved in with me, dropped out of high school at the same time that I was president of my class. Then the next step is to take those timelines and smush them together. And when we do that, the true picture of chronic pain starts to unfold. In 2008, when my back pain began, it was right around the same time my mom was diagnosed. 6 months after my mom died, I had my first back surgery. 6 months after my brother died, I had my second one. And then I was diagnosed with CRPS. While I was depressed and struggling to move forward, my migraines manifested. And then when my sister started acting a fool, I developed ulcerative colitis. And what we start to see when we look at this is the very thing that I think medicine as a whole misses, and that is looking at the entire person. So these life stressors amplified my nervous system to the point where I started to have weird sensations, pain, etc. My digestion started to slow down. I started to get tension headaches because of the tension in my life. And once I made this connection and started to address my life stressors, my social life, my financial stresses, etc., once I started to look at those things on a deeper level and address those, lo and behold, my pain also started to come down and my symptoms started to resolve. So ulcerative colitis, you're supposed to take medicine your whole life for that or eat a special diet. I don't take sulfasalazine anymore. When I start to feel like I'm getting a migraine, I genuinely think about, okay, what in my life is stressing me out? And oftentimes that can slow the migraine or stop it altogether. And then as far as the pain goes, yes, there were changes in my body's capabilities because I was in pain for so long and using a walker, to get around. But as I slowly eased back into exercise and activity, those changes changed back. The body is highly adaptable. It will respond to what you give it. So if you give it nothing, it'll give you nothing. But if you challenge it, it'll give you a lot. And we need to do that. 1 second here, Donna. We need to do that in a paced way. So Carol, I see a question here. I want you to ask it out loud so I don't have to read it, and people on YouTube can see.
So, one of the things, and like it happened to me again this week, and sometimes when you have a flare up, so we all have like better days, and then those really bad, like where you have a week, and it's just sometimes I'm not really sure because do I do more exercise at that point, or do I do less? I get confused. Like, if I overdoing, I'm going to hurt myself, but I also know the importance of moving. And what do you recommend? Should we then pick up the pace and do more? Or should we say, okay, we're still going to exercise, but slow it down a bit?
Okay, perfect question. And it ties into what I was just saying a little bit as well. So firstly, I would recommend you analyze why the flare might be occurring. So firstly, I think about, it's been really hot lately. That could be part of it. There's also, the life stressors. Is there something going on at work? Has there been a significant birthday or anniversary that reminds you of something you've been through? That's the first part. And the reason I ask you to think about that is because I want you to see if this is because your, hand or arm is messed up in some way, or if it's because of something emotional that is charging up your alarm system, right? And then the second thing is when your alarm system is going off, I would recommend being kind or gentle to ourselves for that time period. And the reason I say that is because if you think of like a stray cat or a stray dog, their nervous system is in fight or flight as well. And if we were to run up to that animal and like, let's say we're trying to rescue it. If we were to run up to that animal and just grab them, what will they do? Yeah, scratch, bite, attack you, run away further. So that doesn't help. That doesn't help calm down their nervous system. What we do instead is we approach them slowly. We maybe give them food. We maybe sit on the floor, turn our back to them to show them we're not a threat. We let them smell us, etc. And then over time, we earn their trust. The road to recovery, and you've seen this probably 1,000 times, Carol, I know. The road to recovery looks like, we want it to look like this, but in reality, it looks like this. We're going to have times where it's better, times where it's flared. And during those flare times, the answer to your question, Carol, is let's be gentle with ourselves. Let's still try to do activity, but let's see if we can pace ourselves just a little bit while also inquiring emotionally about what's going on. And something that can help with that, I believe highly in physically writing down the kinds of things that are going on in our life when we start to feel a flare. So sometimes we think this flare is happening because the CRPS is just causing it. What I think is really helpful is like, okay, when we start to have a flare, let's sit down and think, okay, what is happening? Did my daughter just call, who I haven't talked to in years? You know, did my sister just not invite me to the birthday party? You know, those kinds of things are way more important than we realize. And the more you see that pattern, the better it's going to be for you in reducing your fear of this pain that you're having.
So I feel like I've made progress then, because I do know what was, we'll talk on Monday. I do know what was stressing me out this week. There was a lot going on. So I just decided I did take that route. I didn't do the weight stuff, but I moved it. And I could feel, I can feel the improvement. Like my arm's been better than it's been in a while, but I was able to identify those things. And then I just decided I'm going to go easy, but I'm going to still do it. But I'm just not going to add that extra, you know, with
Yes.
with weights or whatever. Work on movement and, strength.
Yes, you're learning well, for sure. I think that,
Thank you, Chase.
yeah, you did exactly what you should do. And here's why, guys. This isn't something that I've just made up. This is something that is researched, okay? So there's a chronic pain cycle, okay? And I'm going to show you that. And this is another snippet of some things in my online course. There's a vicious cycle of pain, okay? So we have pain. I'm going to zoom this in if I can. Can you guys see this okay?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. So we have pain. We have anxiety that this pain means we've damaged our shoulder or our hand or our foot. We've become more focused on the pain. Our nervous system gets more amped up. We have more pain. We move less. Our nervous system learns that moving less is better. Then we have pain again. Then it starts again. Anxiety, focus on the problem, nervous system change, more pain, anxiety, etc. This is the physical cycle. And then there's also this emotional cycle, and I'll move out. So we have pain, anger, frustration, fear. That fear is amplified by what we read online or hear from these online support groups. Our mood decreases, we become depressed, our pain perception increases. Then we continue to avoid activity, we get more deconditioned, we get more pain with decreasing activity, we avoid activity more, we get more deconditioned. This is a vicious cycle in both directions, and the only way to break out of it, is to have a pain experience, and instead of catastrophizing, reading online what might be going on, reading or hearing negative illness information, developing more fear, being hypervigilant and avoiding and becoming depressed, instead what we should do is exactly what you did, Carol. Have no fear. Let's start to move just a little bit, confront the situation, and then we start to see improvement. Obviously, it isn't instant. This is something we have to do over and over and over again to break this cycle. It's just like for me, for example, I have a bad habit of every time I walk past my pantry, reaching in and grabbing trail mix. And it's terrible because, every handful is maybe 200 calories. And next thing I know, it's summer and I'm ashamed. No. So the only way I can stop that habit is by repeatedly not reaching in to grab the trail mix. Instead, I reach in and I grab, I don't know, a dried mango, or I throw the trail mix away. And so the only way I'll ever break that habit is by repeatedly doing something different or the opposite. And so the only way you're going to break this habit of every time I have a symptom, I go to Reddit and I Google what CRPS red spots. And instead I say, okay, my alarm's overreacting. I'm not going to worry too much about it. Every time you do that second part and not the first part, the better and better and better things are going to get. And that's a big reason why those of you in my Facebook group have noticed that with this dose of hope, with this opportunity for something different, some of your symptoms have already improved, even if you're not working with me. That is a firsthand experience of a change in that psychological cycle. Okay. And I was very much trapped in it. I spent a lot of time Googling and in support groups. And that makes a big difference in our pain experience. Okay. More questions. Okay. 1 second, Donna. Let's see if anyone else chimes in. You can put your questions in the chat. Like if you're feeling shy, you can just type them. I won't say your name. Kristen, go ahead.
So, kind of a simple question, but would be interested to know your view on diet and CRPS, and particularly if avoidance of gluten is, do you see any help with that, or is it unnecessary?
So, my answer to this is probably twofold. Okay. So there is a very strong, there's a very, belief is very powerful. Okay. So if you believe that eating gluten is going to be harmful for you, the likelihood that it will be harmful is very high. And there's a book called The Expectation Effect that we just read in the CRPS Power Club, my book club, and they even talk about celiac disease or gluten sensitivity. Just in the last, like, I don't know how many years it's been, maybe 10 years since gluten sensitivity has become a thing, the prevalence of people reporting gluten sensitivity or having symptoms has increased by like 70 something percent. And do I believe that that's because people have always been sensitive to gluten? Not necessarily. I think that belief has a very powerful effect. And I've talked about this in reference to like lotions, for example. If I give you two lotions and it's just CeraVe, they're just CeraVe in two different bottles, non-scented lotion. And one bottle says, this will feel good, and the other bottle says this will burn. Not only will people who don't know it's CeraVe report that the bottle that says this will feel good is cooling and soothing and maybe even smells like menthol, but the group that had the bottle that says this will burn, they will not only report that it burns and it hurts, but some of them will even have redness on their skin. And so when it comes to gluten, if you have tried a gluten-free diet and you feel like on that diet you feel better, you feel more healthy, more alert, and your pain feels down, great. But I do not think by any means that it's something that is necessary. I think that what we need to do is we need to find a diet that feels healthy and fulfilling and soothing for us and stick to that. So, for some people, they say carnivore diet brings them a lot of relief. For others, they say being a vegetarian or a vegan brings them a lot of relief. Those are polar opposite diets, but they're both finding relief. And, that could be because of differences for those individuals, or just because of the fact that, hey, I like eating a lot of meat rather than, leafy green vegetables. So no, I don't think, a gluten-free diet is necessary. I do think some foods, you might find are irritating to you personally. And if that's the case, then yeah, you can avoid them while the alarm system is extra amped up. But again, as we calm that alarm system down, we might not need to do that anymore. We might be able to reintroduce bread. I don't know. So
Thank you.
of course. Anyone else? Oh, Donna had her hand up, but if anyone else wants to put something in the chat, go ahead. Oh, hold on, Donna. Let me get Nikki and then I'll get you again. Go ahead, Nikki. I don't know if you meant to raise your hand, but it's up. Do I need to help you unmute?
Sorry, I was trying to unmute.
You're good.
Hi everybody. I came a couple minutes late into the beginning of the conversation, so I don't know if this is gonna be making sense, but my CRPS started in my foot and like my ankle area, and recently the past couple of months it's been going up my leg and like more just on like one side. Mm-hmm. So I kind of heard you saying that it could be like emotional, it could be like stuff that's going on in, my life, and that's why it's starting to go up and be painful. But kind of like, when do you know that I have to be like really careful about it, because I do have like the little dots are coming, and I get like little red marks and like stuff on my leg, and then obviously just regular symptoms. But I just don't know kind of how to handle it now that it's going up, and I feel like it's hurting more on my left leg on the side than it is even in like my foot and ankle now.
Yeah. So I think last time I don't, and correct me if I'm wrong, but last time you were here, you had, or it was another person named Nikki or Nicole, but you had made some connections to some things in your life that might have been contributing to this. Do you remember that?
Yes,
Or
yes, yes, I do remember that.
okay, and if you're able to share, what are those things? If you
Oh,
don't want to, it's okay.
no, 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 it's okay. My dad's cancer came back in his brain, and I'm probably gonna lose him. My uncle, my mom's brother, who was like the actual father figure in my life, is really sick in a nursing home and can't do anything by himself. And it just was the 2-year anniversary from when my best friend passed away. So I think maybe I needed to be reminded about this conversation that I did have a lot. I do have a lot. It just broke up after a very long-term relationship. It was a lot. So maybe I need to focus on that, and that's what it is, and try and fix that. Maybe the pain will stop. Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, so there's a with me, I lost my mom and I lost my brother in rapid succession.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of feeling that grief, what I did is I put a lot of pressure on myself, now being the oldest child,
Mm-hmm.
to take my family under my wing and help them. My brother, my sister, my father. I took on a job where I was working many hours a week. I basically put everyone else before myself. And eventually, what I believe is that this CRPS came about to tell me to stop. It almost like a messenger to tell me, hey, you need to pay attention to what you're doing to yourself. Um, and I hear that in you when you tell me your story. I mean, it's no coincidence that I ask you this, and there are things there. And I would venture to guess that most everyone in here have the same things going on. Donna, I know you do. Mary, I know you do. Matt, I know you did. So, all of these things are important to pay attention to. So, yeah, what I would suggest is, again, sometimes reading about these symptoms, such as the symptom, what gluten can cause,
Mm-hmm.
causes the symptoms. So the
Yeah,
first time
I don't even read stuff anymore, because I'm like, I've drove myself crazy way too many times going down that rabbit hole, and I'm like, you know what? Nope, let me not do it. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna go away. I'm gonna be okay. And I try to definitely remain positive about the situation as much as I can. I think maybe I just needed this little reminder.
Yeah, and that is the beauty of my online course and what my coaching is all about. I stand there and I remind you over and over again.
Yeah.
And the first time that my pain spread up my leg,
Hmm.
this is what happened. It's all right, Carol, have fun. The first time my pain spread up my leg, I had spent a lot of time reading online, and I read on Burning Night's website that the pain can spread and it'll spread everywhere in my body and it'll spread even to my groin, is what it said. And my dad came home from work and I got hobbled up off the kitchen table and I gave him a hug and I started crying and I said, Dad, the internet said it's going to spread. I'm really worried. What should I do? And then the next morning I woke up and I had pain from my foot to my knee.
Oh my God.
So is that because CRPS is a poison, or is that because I read something and charged myself up to such an extent that I was a victim of this? It's called the nocebo effect. When you believe an expectation of pain or negative effects will happen, a lot of times they do. And so the more you fixate on these symptoms and ruminate, it's called catastrophize, the more likely you might feel and experience them. So we need to change our focus from this close up, which you've been looking at, to the expanded, the bigger picture. So have you had grief counseling or anything to deal with some of the stuff you're going
Um,
through?
yeah, I go to therapy every week. I'm in a support group for like anxiety and depression and trauma. I do that once a week. So
Good.
I've been definitely trying to work through it, and finally like putting myself first. That's something I've really been practicing lately. And I deleted social media about 2 months ago, and it honestly has been like a really big relief for me, because I feel like you get so into what's going on with everybody and you could just sit there and scroll for hours, and it's too much. So
Yeah.
I'm breaking from that right now, and I'm really just focusing on being single for the first time since I'm 24 years old. So I just want to really like focus on me. So it was just, I guess, a little frustrating because I know like I'm moving in the right direction. I'm trying, but then it's like the CRPS is like hurting and it's like coming back. So, I do have to remember the other things outside of me that are going on. And I think this call was what I needed to have that little reminder. So thank you.
Absolutely. And every time, I don't know if I said this, I did say this, but I can't remember if it was when you were in here, but every time you start to have these symptoms, I would really recommend sitting down and, typing out or writing out, what's going on that day. And you mentioned something that I think is really important. This focusing on ourself, right, for the first time in a while. I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of us with CRPS, we share a very similar personality type, and focusing on everyone else except ourselves is something a lot of us do. We're self-sacrificing individuals,
Yes.
and I'm going to show you what I believe is the CRPS personality. And I think a lot of you in here will resonate with this as at least partially the type of person you are. So to read through it, you're self-sacrificing and you suppress your own needs, so you meet the emotional needs of others at the expense of yourself. You have a rigid sense of duty or obligation, often to your own detriment. You may have a difficulty expressing emotions, especially anger, which can also manifest as emotional or physical problems. You have a belief in the responsibility for others' emotions, meaning you take the burden of others on yourself and believing that you are responsible for their well-being.
Oh my God,
And
I do that so much. No,
yeah,
that one is a huge one for me. Sorry, not to cut you off.
no, you're good. I love hearing these revelations because these are revelations I had to make myself on my own journey. Okay. And then fear of disappointing others, a strong desire to avoid disappointing others, even at the cost of your own well-being. So
Mhm.
if you're sitting in this Zoom and those personality traits resonated with you, I want you to ask yourself why. How much does that have to do with the nerve in, your bum or your shoulder or your wrist? And is it that, is that bone that's dislodged or out of place, or that surgery that you had really to blame? Or is there more to this? And I think that when you realize there's more to it, because that's what I had to realize, you realize that, okay, maybe I can, maybe there are things I can address that, and my body isn't as broken as I think.
Yeah.
Because mind you, I had 2 back surgeries. I was told never squat, never run again, and I did both those things this week. So
Oh my God, wow, that's amazing.
yeah. Well, I'm here, Nikki, anytime for you. I know you got rid of social media, but I'm gonna put my email in the chat.
Okay, cool.
And I would love to, I would really recommend you jump into my online course. There's a, discount for the course there. But also, I'd love to work with you or anyone in here one-on-one eventually, if you're still having trouble. There was actually a lady on my wait list just recently who messaged me and said the online course was enough for her to fully get out of pain and move forward.
Wow.
And I do see that with a number of people. And so, I would recommend at least trying that as a starting point. It's cheaper than Scrambler or ketamine, even just one treatment of Scrambler. It's cheaper than that. And I've made it that way on purpose.
Oh, that's great. Okay, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Okay. You're always doing some great questions, great realizations, Nikki. So I'm glad you're here.
Thanks.
Um, who else? I see people in here. I see faces or at least names I haven't seen before. So, if you have questions, don't be shy. There's no dumb questions. Mary, go ahead. Don't worry, Donna, I didn't forget about you.
Yeah, kind of more of a statement for others to hear. You know, when we did our one-on-one, you think my CRPS pain, that's where you start your timeline. But you pointing out that, 30 years ago is when stuff started happening. And you don't realize that. The nurse in you, that personality traits we have, you just keep going. You don't even stop to think of yourself.
Mhm.
And I didn't realize that till, that first one on one. And you think, oh, wow, That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's true.
Yeah, Mary, and when we started our first one-on-one just the other day, even when you entered the call, you had some healthy skepticism, right?
Yes, of course.
But then we made rapid realizations of, oh my gosh, I have been burying a lot of emotions.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you just keep your mind so busy, it doesn't even cross your mind that that's what's happening.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, you've got to just stop and be still for a minute and listen to what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen to that little voice inside you that says, hey, I have some things I need to look at.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, those of you that are in here, those of you that are watching on YouTube, if you can't even imagine what life can be like when you start to sort through these things. If you spend every day carrying around the grief of someone you lost, or the pain of, some of the things you've been through, just imagine what it would be like to not carry it even for a short time. And it's better than what you're imagining, I promise, because that's where I am. And it's almost as if like I'm in a different world. And so I'm happy to be bringing people there. So yeah, we're just starting, Mary. So I'm super excited for next week too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Who else we got? Donna, it can be your turn if you're ready.
It's not really a question. This is back on the timeline thing because we just started the one-on-one this week. And so Thomas helped me write down an outline of things.
Yeah.
And what?
I added both bad things and good things because I didn't want it to be a complete bummer. So
I like that.
Yeah, so keeps it going.
And this is going to help me because I'm a visual person. So,
Absolutely.
So then I'm going to do this on the paper, but it's helped me to recognize things that have happened in my life.
Yeah.
So thank you, Chase. That's all wasn't a question. I just think this would be helpful for people.
I love that you shared that, Donna. That is helpful.
It is like an outline, and then you can do the timeline thing after.
Yeah.
We're just putting dates to everything now and then sorting it out.
Yeah.
I love it. I'll be excited to see that this next week and go through it with you. And you know what? The thing about it is a lot of times, just like you said, Mary, when you look back at your life, when I looked back at my life, when I was making these connections, I said, I had a perfect childhood. I don't know what you're talking about. And then I looked back at my life and I said, oh, maybe things were a little more challenging than I realized. Maybe I learned things in my childhood and adapted to things in my childhood that hindered me in my future life. They served me in childhood, but then in the future it was a detriment to me. And unlearning those things is important. And the timeline is part of beginning that process. And it also lets us see like, hey, I have reason to be sad or angry or grieve, and so, yeah, I love that you're going through it, Donna, yeah, that we're working on these things.
Thank you, Chase. I did have an amazing childhood. All of these things are after I was a young adult.
Yeah,
and afterwards.
A lot of times it is like that too. You run into these tragedies or deaths or losing connection with people in our lives. Yeah, or you get into a job you have a boss from hell or something like that, so it can be a lot of different things. Okay.
Yeah, but anyways, I know everybody's different, so everybody has their own thing, but
Sure.
I think it's good to do like an outline and then write it down because then you kind of have it all right there.
Absolutely.
With the dates and stuff. It helps me. I'm a visual person, so I was just gonna put that out there.
Thank you, Donna. That's fantastic. Okay. Anybody else? We need some more questions.
What?
And if we don't have any more questions right away, we'll take a break and we'll go to our quiz. Okay. I need a verbal yes.
I don't. I don't see anything yet.
Okay, do you see question 1 on your screen now? So this is the symbol that's on my t-shirt. It's a Japanese symbol. What does the symbol mean? Triangle for life, diamond for pain, blue for pain, yellow for forest, or green for window? And select your answer. Okay, so we had 3 answers. One person got it right. It actually means pain. Okay. Next question. Let's see who's winning. Donna's winning. Okay. The next one. Can you guys see here? Pain is only a sensory experience on the computer. And it is blue for true, red for false. So the statement is pain is only a sensory experience. Blue for true, red for false. Six answers. Good. That's everyone. False. That's right. Pain is also a what? Does anyone know? Sensory and I think I heard Donna say it, emotional experience, a sensory and emotional experience. Okay, we got Donna up at 1520. Very cool. We're getting comebacks though. Okay, next question. The name of this group, meaning the Facebook group, is The Pain Window, red, CRPS Healing, blue, The Window Pain, orange or gold, and Chase's Cool Cats, green. We got 5 answers. Remember, red is the pain window, blue is CRPS healing. Oh, there it is. Okay. Uh-oh, Donna's on a hot streak, but Kristen is close behind, so we're moving. All right, next question. How many people recover from CRPS? 30% red, 10% blue, 85% orange, 70% green. And by recover, I mean a significant reduction in pain. They go on to live normal lives. 30% red, 10% blue, 85% orange. Okay. Interesting. So the answer is 85%. Okay. And you can find that, you can search CRPS recovery on Google and you can find the source for that. And I believe it's NHS in the UK that says 85%. Next question. What contributes to being in fight or flight? A central sensitized nervous system. Could it be family conflict, red, work problems, blue, orange, false messages from doctors and support groups, or green, all of the above? Nice. Yes, that's exactly right. All of these things bring up your fight or flight system. Okay, look at this. Meg is chasing me, whoever me is. The types of CRPS are drastically different. Type 1 and type 2. They're completely different and treatment is completely different. Blue for true, red for false. There's CRPS type 1, which means there's no known nerve injury. It came on. Yep, perfect. I'm so glad you guys are on that answer. That is correct. They are exactly the same. The only thing the type is saying is you got it from either A, a known injury, or for type 2, or B, no injury, no known injury. It's a unknown origin. Okay. The stages of CRPS are inevitable, meaning we will move through them no matter what. Blue for true, red for false. False. I love it. This is great. This is much better than the first time I gave this quiz. Yes, the stages are just descriptions of what's happening. They are not a process by which you have to automatically go through. Okay, they're just describing what is happening at that moment. And I'm actually working together with some doctors to change that terminology because I believe it is harmful. Okay. Next one. You have to treat CRPS early and be young to get out of pain. So you must be young and diagnosed early to get out of pain. Blue for true, red for false. False. Yes, everyone on the same page again. Thank goodness. Yes, you can reduce your pain and get back to a more fulfilling and meaningful life, no matter what age or no matter what amount of time. I was 23 and I was dealt with pain for 4 years and I got out of pain. Okay. And there's a testimony coming out tomorrow of a client I have who's in her late 40s and was diagnosed at 12 and is now pain free. So keep an eye on that for YouTube on Sunday. Okay. What are ways to reduce pain? Red, physical activity or intervention. Blue, lifestyle adjustments. Orange, mental health care. Green, all of the above. Very good. All of the above. You guys are pros. Oh, it's getting close. Okay. Social connection is vital in recovery from pain. True or false? Blue, true, red, false. Oh, no. We do need to connect socially. We need to reach out, especially if we've been isolated. So that is going to be true. Oh boy, we've had a shift. Meg has taken the lead. Okay, let's see, is that the last one? Nope. What is the name of the next CRPS documentary? Taking Care of Maya, red. Stories from the Shadows, blue. Trial by Fire 2, orange. The Silent Syndrome, green. What do you guys think? That's right, Trial by Fire. What do we got? Who's it going to be? Number 3 is me. I don't know who me is. Oh, yeah, I do. Number 2 is Donna. And number 1, Meg. Okay. Very good, guys. Okay, so 4 is Kristen and 5 is okay, I think is what I saw there. So if you were in the top 5, so Meg, Donna, and me, what I want you to do is I want you to private message me here on Zoom if you're able to do that. Or if you have me on Facebook, you can message me on Facebook and tell me that you were in the top 5. And you let me know your email. I need your email, okay? And Meg, there is no one in here named Meg. So who is Meg? I don't see
It
anyone.
is Mary Esther.
Okay, Mary. Okay, so
Yeah.
you got a t-shirt too. I can send
Awesome.
you, so you'll get 2 t-shirts then, because I still got to send you the one for signing up with me. So
Okay, cool.
we'll chat about that. If you want a different size for someone else, that's fine. Okay, we're going on 46 minutes, but I think we've went through a lot of questions. I don't see any more questions in the chat. I'm going to send you, Mary, another shirt, and I'll reach out to someone at random for another shirt since we didn't get enough number guesses. So I'm very thankful for all of you being here. I am going to leave the coupon code that I've put in the chat active for another 10 minutes after we sign off. So if you want to copy that code and put it in your browser so you can sign up for the online course, you are more than welcome to do that. Otherwise, this replay is going to be up later today, so you can check it out at your leisure if you want to look back on some of the things we talked about. I'm really thankful you guys are here, and it's been another great Q&A. And I hope either in the Facebook group or on the comment section of this Q&A, if you have questions for Q&A 10, which I'm going to try to do not live, but standalone next weekend, please ask those questions. Okay, Donna, what do you have to say? I see your hand.
Am I unmuted? Well, I just want to thank you so much, Chase, for all you do.
Thank you,
We're so
Donna.
very grateful. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Donna. Of course, you don't need to thank me. This is my passion. You know, I want to help people who are in the same place I used to be. And if I can help even one person, it makes my day. So
You've helped me already.
Well, when you were on the kitchen floor having all those thoughts years ago, did you think you were going to be here today doing this?
definitely not. No, I never imagined. So what Thomas is referring to, for those who don't know, when I hit rock bottom with my CRPS, I had lost about 60 pounds. I was walking with my walker, my mom's walker that she used while she had cancer, to the kitchen to try and get a glass of orange juice. And I was shaking, frail, and I stood there about to sip my orange juice and I fell. And
Yep.
while I was laying on the kitchen floor, I thought to myself, I could take all the pills that are up in the cabinet. I had about 16 different pills at the time, and I could just end things. And then I also thought to myself, or I could try doing something different from what the doctors had said to me and see if I could move forward. And that's what I did, thankfully. And I never thought that I'd be out of pain. I also didn't think that I'd be in a position where I'm helping people all over the world do the same thing. So, yeah, to answer your question, Thomas, I absolutely did not think that. I certainly never thought I'd be able to do this uh, from my computer to help people as well. And so it's truly a blessing. And I
Such a
think
blessing.
I thank all of you, and I thank God for that. And yeah, I'm just
Amen.
excited to be here.
Thanks,
Uh,
Chase. I appreciate you too.
yeah, thank you, Nikki, thank you, Kristen. I see you in the chat. Thanks, Nicole. Th Thanks everyone for being here. And Nikki, don't hesitate to reach out. You don't have to do all this alone. Even if it's a free consult, I'll talk to you.
Okay, thank you. I really appreciate you, Chase.
Absolutely. Okay, guys.
Bye, guys.
10 more minutes. That code for the course will be active. Take advantage of it if you're considering. And if you want to ask me more questions, again, thewindowpain.com, book a consult with me. I'd love to see you. You're not wasting my time, even if you come in and just ask me a few things. You don't have to give me money to get benefit. I want to help you. Okay. All right. See you guys. Thank you so much. Take care. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.